Welcome back to another episode of Graps and Yaps. This is your go-to podcast for everything pro wrestling. We are going to recap what's happened inside and outside of the ring from the last week. Whether you're a lifelong fan like us or you're just a victim of the wrestling algorithm, we thank you for being here and we hope you enjoy. I'm Phil Fresh, back off not back off, but fresh off a win from the Gunners 22 years later, finally getting the dub. Shout out to our boy, Nick Stav. I'm Phil Fresh with you, one half of the show, joined by our other half, the second half, TF, Tony Free. Tony Free, how are we feeling this week?
Hey, it's a very nervous week at the moment. It's grand final week. West Ham, Tottenham. One of them's going down. One of them's staying up. That's the main event this week. Forget about what happened yesterday morning. The real race is at the bottom of the ladder, and that relegation zone. That's the real challenge this week. I'm sick of all these Arsenal fans. I've just realised now that they're all insufferable twats. I'm already sick of hearing from them. All this bottle business.
1 day.
I'm over it.
1 day.
Oh, it took me 1 hour. 1 hour yesterday. I had to log off.
Well, I mean, things could go from bad to worse for you if things don't go the way that you want them to this week. But don't worry, mate. You know, you might not like how it's going down, but you've got our full support. Hopefully you can get the job done. Obviously, we're going to be getting through what happened in the last week of wrestling. There's Saturday night main event this week that I kind of forgot about. So we'll be going through the card, a little bit of that. But before we do all that, Tony Free, you went and watched some live wrestling recently.
Yeah, on a Monday night, went out to
on a school night.
The Penrith Panthers there. First time I've really, got out to the West and, been in that establishment. What an experience, just walking in, seeing all the Panthers premierships on the wall as you make your entrance in. You see all the names and all the photos and, all the cutouts. Nice little bizarre cutout in the bistro area.
Nice.
But yeah, the wrestling part, fun night. Really cool card. They had Killer Cross, Nick Nemeth, Ryan Nemeth, Matt Riddle, man like DeReese, Bishop Dyer, a.k.a. Baron Corbin, but he wasn't wrestling on the night. He had a bit of I think he had a cut on his head, so he wasn't allowed to wrestle. But Dijak was there, the Dropouts, Good Brothers, really good night, really, really fun night. But I have to ask you, if you booked for your own show and brought all these wrestlers out, would you book yourself in the main event and have a prominent spot super kicking Nick Nemeth for Killer Cross to get the win?
No. I will say no. I guess if I was in Fantasyland, I would book it that way. But in reality, probably not. How was the super kick, though?
Horrendous. And This was such a fun show. Like we also had like Shotzi, Priscilla Kelly, Ash by Elegance, Mila Gray. So like every match was like just super fun. Crowd was really into it for a Monday night. So like not as rowdy as you'd usually get out of a wrestling crowd, compared to a weekend. But like every match was really fun show. And then the end, everyone's amped because we're getting Killer Cross versus Nick Nemeth. Like, just amazing to see these two guys in a ring out in Penrith of all places. And, main event for the WSW Heavyweight Championship. And, there's a ref bump that happens, maybe 10, 15 minutes into the match. And then the owner, Mr. WSW, he comes out, to make the count, the kick out, few shenanigans, pretty much everybody runs in for interference. And then it just ends with Mr. WSW, the owner himself, laying this terrible super kick on Nick Nemeth, which allows Killer Cross to get the win. And I think everybody was just like, oh, it kind of just sucked all the air out of the arena. So
was there noise when the promoter came in? Like, were people aware of who he was?
Hell no. No idea.
Oh, so they were just like, the hell?
There might have been his immediate friends and family who were there.
Oh, wow.
Maybe a few rusted on old fans who've been to a few, World Series wrestling shows before.
So like the Vince Russo of WSW.
It was pretty much like, he does look like him as well. So, and almost dressed the same. So maybe that was his shtick, but it just, flat end to the night. But otherwise, pretty fun show.
Yeah, I've been seeing clips. Obviously, despite all of those names being there, ex WWE wrestlers and stuff. Turns out, it looked like the Dropouts got the biggest pop of the night. I mean,
Oh, 100%.
I saw them running it back. You're wearing some new merch, some Dropouts merch, actually,
Some new,
TF.
new Dropouts merch. Get some when you can.
Man,
They got a show next week.
over
Get out.
like Rover.
Bro,
Those
their
guys,
entrance,
man.
their entrance for their match with the Good Brothers, the
Yeah.
entrances, 100% went longer than the match itself. They
Oh,
ran it
really?
back. They ran it back at least like 3 or 4 times, and then the Good Brothers, they tried to do it as well. I think there's a few clips going around of that, and then when the show finished, it was just Chelsea Dagger on repeat.
Yeah, that's
Shoeys
right.
everywhere, everybody doing the Dagger. It was pretty fun.
The Dropouts are over, man. Yeah, it looked really awesome, man. I'm glad that you guys got to
Also,
experience it live.
Dropouts after the show, like in a little merch area where all the wrestlers were there, taking photos and signing and stuff. Dropouts had the biggest line in that room.
Come on now. Hey, those guys are out of here, man. They might have to drop out soon of Australia and drop into the WWE. Like, I
100%.
see that happening. It's not a matter of if, it's more a matter of when. But man, I'm glad I haven't seen live wrestling in a minute, so I'm glad you got to get your fix and maybe got to change that soon. Yeah, the dropped out show is happening next week, so keep an eye out for that one. But let's get into some outside the ring news. And I saw this one on my feed the other day. Had no idea that these guys were even in a relationship. But some marriage news, some wedding news. Io Sky and Naraku, formerly known as Evil. Did you see these clips? These photos, it was honestly the most aura. That's all I can say about these photos. Aura, the couple photos, it looks so sweet and cute. I had no idea that these guys were even together.
Yeah, it was nice to see. I had no idea either. I didn't realize. I thought Io was probably already married up and already had that thing kind of sorted.
True.
So yeah, a bit of a shock to wake up one morning and just see that Io Sky is now married. But yeah, super cool, super wholesome. Just disappointed they didn't do it on WWE TV because we've been lacking
Oh man,
a wedding. It's been a long time.
It has been a minute, actually. They do have to fix it up. I mean, who would be? I mean, the most realistic one would be, I guess, Dom and Liv, right? Unless I'm missing another on-screen relationship. No, it would just be Dom and Liv, right?
That's it at the moment.
Yeah. Okay. Well, come on, time's ticking, guys. The other bit of outside the ring news, it's gotten to the point now where this is like, they need to stop doing this. Danhausen. All right, formerly cursing the Knicks, then lifting the curse off the Knicks, led them to losing, I think, the first 1 or 2 games of one of their series, and then ultimately coming back, moving on. They're in the East Conference Finals now. He showed up, Danhausen, showed up on ESPN, says that he lifts the curse off the Knicks, and he puts a curse onto the Cavs, right? This is before Game 1 that happened yesterday. What happened yesterday? The Cavaliers in the fourth quarter, they were up by 22 points at one stage. 22 points. It's only 12 minutes in the final quarter. 22-point lead. They ended up losing in overtime to the New York Knicks. This Danhausen curse is real, Tony Free.
It is, and I think it's great for the Knicks. Like it's about time that we see them actually doing something in the NBA. So it turns out all they needed was Danhausen. That's all they needed all this time. They went through all these rebuilds, all these coaches, all these megastars that they, traded in, traded out. And all they had to do was get Danhausen to curse them and then uncurse them.
What we need is, or maybe it's already happened, but I need to see official video of him cursing Tottenham because especially if it goes down the way that we want it to go down this weekend, we're going to have to get a clip of him cursing the Spurs. But look, let's get into the recap of a week. A lot of things happened this week, but one thing happened in particular that when it happened, I said, "You're joking. You are kidding me." You've heard it on this show before. A bit of back and forth, a lot of pushback, and I'll own up to it. A lot of pushback from me, but a lot of persistence and determination from Tony Free. Brock Lesnar, the beast is back. Tony Free, I'll let you have the floor, mate.
Guys, I hate to say it, but I told you so. It only took 1 month for him to return. you guys were all under the sense that he was retired because he threw up the X. You know, he threw up the X recently.
God.
Trick Williams on the gingerbread man. That just shows you the X now. Throwing up the X has lost all.
No, they had the funeral service. He went. He's gone.
Didn't he rise up in that funeral service? So he's still technically alive.
Hey,
But
don't
see,
worry about it.
I've watched enough WWE Unreal now to know that it is all a swerve. Everything you see is now a swerve. There is never, maybe AJ Styles might be the only one right now, but everything else you're seeing is just a swerve. And it made no sense for Brock Lesnar to retire there at WrestleMania. It made all the sense for him to still continue, put a few more people over, make Obafemi even. Well, I'm surprised he came back for Obafemi, but it's good to see that he's coming back to make him an even bigger thing. But mate, when I saw this, I didn't watch Raw live, but I logged on to Instagram on Tuesday morning when I was at work, and I see this clip of Obafemi, doing that pose and gets hit with 3 F5s. And first thing I did was, just smile to myself, just remind myself that I am that guy.
Oh my God.
And then I had to let everybody know about it as well.
Yeah, you went straight to the group chat.
Acknowledge
I
me.
was like, I was like, oh my God. Hey, you know what though? And you know what? It's almost two birds, one stone. You called Brock Lesnar not officially retiring then, but you also wanted the end of the Obafemi Open Challenge, and it seems like that's also what happened. Far out.
Booker
Big
of the
weekend
year.
for you, Teddy Free. Oh, give it a rest, mate. Yeah, your time's up, mate. Your time's up. But yeah, honestly, you know what? I was not expecting that to happen at all. When it happened, because seeing it on TV, right, the shot of him, with the spotlight behind him, getting attacked, and then I saw like a little top knot, and I was like, oh, that's not. And then the lights went on. He's in the F5 position. I was like, oh my God, it's like you're taking the piss. But man, he had something like 5 F5s or something, right?
Yeah, something like that. He destroyed him.
What a turn of events, and then obviously, a lot of surprised and shocked faces in the crowd. We then get a backstage segment with Adam Pearce and Paul Heyman. Pearce is going, what the hell is going on? Paul Heyman presents a contract to Adam Pearce. A match, a clash in Italy. It has Brock's signature, but he's just waiting for Obafemi's now. So it turns out, looks like we're getting Brock and Oba 2, a clash in Italy. Did you think that we will be getting this early, Tony Free?
No, I didn't. I was surprised that it's happening Clash in Italy because I think like the card itself already has enough big names on it. So yeah, I'm surprised that it is happening in Italy next week. But I don't know if I'm going off too early here, but I want to like link this directly to the Gunther and Cody stuff. We saw Cody and Gunther here, we're supposed to have this contract signing. The contract that Gunther was supposed to sign did not end up happening, which technically means Gunther's favor from Paul Heyman has not been cashed in.
Yeah, you got a point, actually. You got a point. Man. So you're saying that there's a chance that it'll tie back into Gunther being the career killer again?
100%. I still think so. Paul Heyman was supposed to, give Gunther a guaranteed title shot for that that WWE Championship. Gunther then had to go through a number one contender match against Royce Keys to get that shot. So Paul Heyman's favor never came through. So he's still got it in his back pocket. Still in the back pocket.
Okay. Well, I mean, I know we're just one day into this, I guess, but how would you, just off the top of your head, how does that work out? So we lock in this match at Clash in Italy. Then what? You know what I mean? I wonder how they get there. Will it involve Cody? Will it involve Obafemi? Will it involve anyone else?
Look, I think Brock versus Obafemi will be a trilogy, and I see Obafemi winning every match in the trilogy. So he's already one up. Damn. I think he wins in Italy. I think he'll win the third match. And Gunther somehow will be involved towards SummerSlam. When he cashes in the actual favor that he's still, it's still outstanding. So eventually we will get Gunther versus Brock Lesnar. And the best thing about this, it helps Gunther along the way in terms of his, career killer moniker. And it just leaves that match for later on where we can get career killer versus legend killer. It just adds to that a little bit more.
Is Clash in Italy, that's next week, isn't it?
Next weekend.
Good Lord, man. Well, look, let's see what happens, what unfolds in the next week before that. I'm just glad that you've got some positive news for us, Tony Free. You're very happy about being correct.
Well, it's out of the way.
And
So
I'm
it's
glad
all
you're
downhill
happy
from
about
me.
something. No. Come on, you got to switch on. Let's try and find some positivity in this Jacob Fatu Roman Reigns storyline. It has developed even further. Looks like we're going to be getting tribal combat at Clash in Italy. This will be the third time that we've had a tribal combat match. Now, my understanding, it's basically, no DQ, but it can only involve people in the bloodline, people in the family. Is that your understanding of it as well?
I think so, but then
Yeah.
I'm just trying to remember. Like tribal combat is it's obviously different to, was it Bloodline Rules, the one with when
Yeah,
Cody
yeah.
and
Yeah.
Roman had the 10 minutes of absolute bullshit at
Yes.
WrestleMania. So I guess
Exactly, yes.
so I guess we're not expecting any outside interference besides
Maybe.
immediate
Well,
bloodline.
the first one was SummerSlam 2023 between Roman and Jay. That's when Jimmy cost Jay. And then the second one was Roman and Solo on the Netflix debut on Raw. And there was no real interference on that one either. I mean, the Rock was there, but there wasn't really anything going on. But it's gonna be interesting how this pans out between Jacob and Roman, because Jacob again still being booked like an absolute beast. Like, just not he got jumped by all three, the Usos and the OTC, and he's still talking shit. You know what I mean? Challenges Roman to tribal combat. Roman accepts. I think like Pierce and the Usos did a really good job of like selling it, being like, "What? Nah, don't do that, don't do that." But it'll be a fun match. But again, going back to the rules, I mean, if there's anyone like family wise, like who are you expecting to see in the tribal combat match? And I guess my question to you as Tony Free is, what are the chances of Zilla Fatu being involved in this?
Yeah, I've been thinking about this. I'm not too sure, to be honest. I'm not sure what his schedule's currently like, if he's been, active in the last few weeks. I'm not sure. So it's obviously the first name that everybody thought about here, coming in to help Jacob. Yeah, there's not really any others, unless like Solo Sikoa has some weird swerve in his character right now and he comes and helps Jacob. I just don't see that happening.
Yeah.
But they are possibilities, because WWE can somehow make that happen and then find a reason for it later on. But yeah, Zilla is the obvious one, and I think it's the go-to if anything does happen. I think it should be Zilla. But I also wouldn't be opposed to Jacob Fatu just doing this solo by himself, like not relying on anybody else and just getting the job done himself.
Yeah, I think especially the way that he's been getting, the reactions from the crowd, the beatdowns that he's been doing, and still getting cheered despite it all, and the crowd still, hitting those lines, like, oh, guys, no breaks with it. Yeah, it seems like you can't really, I guess it will just be a numbers thing, because the Usos will be involved. At some point, he's going to have to get some backup. It's just a matter of who is the backup, right? So, I mean, look, we'll do a proper, preview, sorry, when we do look over Clash in Italy next week. But yeah, I'm liking where this storyline is at the moment. But what are your thoughts on what's going on between the Vision, Seth Rollins, and the Street Profits? Where are you at with this?
Look, I'm going to say this now, and there's not much else to it. I don't need this. I'm already bored. I've said this
Here
for
we
the
go.
last
See?
few months. Bored of the Vision, and unfortunately, I'm really bored of the Street Profits. They're the same characters they've been for the last 5 years. Nothing's different here. We might be teasing this split between Montez and Dawkins, but this has been teased for so long now. It's the train that never ends up arriving to the station. I don't know if
You
they're
don't
still
think?
going to go that way.
Yeah. You
I
don't
don't
think
know.
that this is different? This will actually be the one? It feels like this one could be the real one.
Oh, I've said that the last 5 times, so who knows?
Yeah.
I'm not holding out
I
any hope at the moment.
I don't mind. Well, Montez Ford is looking like more like a, give this guy a singles run. I mean, I think that's been the yarn with him for some time now. Like, let him split from the profits, let him do his own thing. And now it feels like, and maybe it's because he's included in, like, this is like a main event. This was the main event of Raw, this match. And he's, getting involved with Seth as well. Like, seeing him with, those upper tier wrestlers, upper card wrestlers, like, does make him feel more like a big deal. But yeah, agreed. There's no denying that this has been going on for some time, and we've been talking about this on this show, like, for the last year. Like, when is this happening? Are they doing it? Like, hurry up and just do it. But also saying it for the Vision as well. The Vision, well, like, what's going on? Like, I really don't understand the dynamic with what's going on, especially now with having Brock back as well. Like, with Paul still looking after Brock. And then kind of, I guess, being tied in with this Gunther stuff, but then also looking after Braun Breaker and the Vision kind of as well. Yeah, man, hopefully we get to a decision. I mean, the Vision defend the tag titles this week against the Street Profits. I'm assuming I want to say that'll be the main event of the whole show. What do you see happening? Do you have like a prediction maybe for this match?
I think you have. Oh, it's hard. Like if the split's happening, the Street Profits can't win. But I don't want the tag titles on the Vision any longer. I don't think like
No.
these. I don't know if we need to. We really don't need to keep pushing the Vision as a group. Like Braun Breaker's pretty much just running his own solo mission at the moment, and Austin Theory and Logan Paul probably can too. So. I would like to see the Street Profits win, but I think like my head says that they continue with the Vision being the champs.
Yeah, it just seems like both teams need something, but I think it's a matter of who needs something more like now, right? So I think, yeah, I would agree with you. I think the Street Profits lose this one. This will hopefully, maybe even on the next week's Raw will lead to an eventual split or at least some sort of development there. But yeah, I'll go with you on this one. The Vision retaining the tag titles. Come to SmackDown, and I guess we also get through the rest of the matches for Saturday night's main event. We got a 6-woman tag match. We've got Rhea Ripley, Charlotte Flair, and Alexa Bliss tagging up against Jade Cargill, Mi Chin, and B-Fab. Still, like it's kind of like a little bit of a hangover from WrestleMania, I guess, between Rhea and Jade. But they're also kind of pitching tension between Rhea, Charlotte, and Jade as well. Those three. I don't really know. This sounds like a repeat of what we were just talking about. I'm like, I don't really know what's happening here, right?
Yeah, it's the same
build
thing.
has been a little bit confusing. Yeah, you're saying it's the same thing?
Yeah, same thing. But I think with this one though, you kind of need to give Jade, B-Fab, and Mi Chin a win because it hasn't really been happening. So if you want to try and put this group over, they need to win. And maybe like, all those, the differences in the history with Charlotte and Rhea, maybe that comes to play here and prevents them from getting the win. So like, and Jade as well, like her title run probably wasn't what we want, like what we're kind of expecting when it happened. So, yeah, I think it might be time to start giving them some wins, especially, these three as a group. You kind of got randomly put together just before WrestleMania.
Yeah.
If you want to continue with them, being a group together, they have to start winning, which I think will happen this week.
Yeah, I have no notes to add to that. I agree. I think they haven't really we know that they hang out and they're like friends for some reason, but we don't know anything else beyond that. So yeah, I reckon give them the win here, and then I actually think the bigger thing here is Rhea and Charlotte. And I've been saying it before WrestleMania. I'm saying get Charlotte back as a singles wrestler, man. It's been too long. She's been back into form. I feel like the crowd's getting more and more around her. Just do the thing, pull the trigger, get Charlotte Flair back into the main event build. So yeah, we'll give Jade Cargill, Michin, and B-Fab the win here. The Intercontinental Championship is getting defended. Penta up against Ethan Page. We saw Ethan Page on Raw having a little one-on-one interview with Michael Cole. I don't know if I'm like I don't have any issues with Ethan Page, but I am not 100% sold on him yet. He hasn't done anything bad, but I don't know. I don't really get. He doesn't really get a reaction out of me. So I don't know. Where are you on the similar train with that, TF?
A little bit, but I actually think that Ethan Page needs to win this weekend. He needs to win the IC title. That interview that he did with Michael Cole, it would just make, it'd be really cool if, Ethan Page wins the championship and then Michael Cole has to kind of, like on commentary, like have to deal with, this really smug, egotistical guy who's just, I guess like put him in his place during this interview, and then he'll just continue to carry on as an asshole with the IC championship. And I think the other thing as well, I think it would help if the IC champion right now was a heel, because I feel like you have a lot more faces that you can throw into that title picture.
Well, look, I mean, Javon Evans is still kind of lingering around it. Rusev, we know, is still kind of around it. Like, I don't think Ethan wins it this weekend. It's just with those names involved as well. Like, it seems like there will be a fatal four-way at some point. We might get like some tag matches on Raw again. Like, this seems like the go-to formula when it comes to like, we don't really know what to do here, so let's just keep doing these kinds of things until we figure it out. I mean, is there any other names that we're trying to see in the IC picture? Because it seems like it's more of the same, right? I mean, well, maybe Finn Balor, maybe?
Well, that's what I was going to say. Like, once this Judgment Day crap ends, Finn Balor is your perfect guy to throw into that IC title picture as, one of the top faces.
Dude, but yeah, well, how are we already here and we're still doing Finn Balor versus the Judgment Day? Like, I mean, and mind you, right, the street fight that happened on Raw between Finn and JD, fantastic, great match. But why did it end with? Why did Dom Mysterio run out and cost him the match? Like, I thought we moved on from this. Are we not done?
Yeah, no, we're not. And that's I thought we were done at WrestleMania, but obviously this might have a few more legs to it. But we need Finn away from it.
Yes, Finn is looking fantastic. He's back with the crowd. He's back with the trunks. Again, that match was awesome. JD, shout out to JD as well. But and it's all of those names as well. It's Finn, JD, and Dom. Just let's get them doing something that's not this. Like, let's freshen it up a little bit, right? Like, let's give them new matchups. Let's add some twists, some turns to this. But maybe that'll be a bit more clear after this week in Saturday night's main event. Who are you tipping Penta and Ethan Page here?
Yeah, I'm just going to tip Ethan Page just for those reasons I just outlined.
Really?
And I think, good way to immediately put him over and make him look like he's a big deal after coming up from NXT. So for those, main roster fans who still not, like yourself, who may not be, I guess, convinced yet that Ethan Page is, someone to take notice of, best way to do it, put a title on him straight away.
Yeah, 100%. Let him hold it for a bit, and he can defend that as well. So I don't think it's happening now, though. I'm going to go with Penta on this one. Moving down the card, let's move to the Women's Intercontinental Championship. Becky Lynch and Sol Ruka. Now, Sol Ruka...
Well, it's not a title match.
It's a non-title match. Well, Sol Ruka's still without a win, and Becky kind of alludes to that on Raw.
That's what I
She G's it up. She G's it up so well, like G'ing it up, and then at the end, but obviously not for the title because you haven't won anything, and then leaves. Like, I thought,
love it.
That was fantastic. That was really, really funny. Becky Lynch is great. Sol Ruka's still over though, but the fact the non-title of it all does lead me to believe we're getting Sol Ruka's win, and it's going to be a big win over Becky Lynch.
100%. And yeah, it sets it up perfectly. And I'm glad Becky did bring that up and say, actually, no, you don't deserve a title match because you haven't won a match. This is what I was saying last week. This is what I've been saying pretty much every week on this podcast. You need wins to get a title match. They don't just hand them out as charity. They shouldn't be handing them out as charity. So I'm glad that Becky went that route. She was very right in everything she said. So yeah, Sol does get the win here at Saturday night's main event. Her last Saturday night's main event, big win against Bailey. She continues her little streak at Saturday night's main event this weekend, I think, by getting the win over Becky Lynch. And yeah, immediately that will put her into the IC title picture. And yes, I do think she should win that title in the not too distant future.
No notes. Let's move on to the final match on the card. I mean, I think that's 5 matches on Saturday night's main event. I doubt we'll be getting any more this weekend on SmackDown. But the Women's Tag Team Championships are getting defended. Paige and Brie Bella versus the Irresistible Forces, Nia Jax and Lash Legend. Kind of I guess it's their rematch since WrestleMania. I mean, this seems to be a recurring theme of, does WWE know what they're doing with their tag teams? Like, because this has been dragging for a bit.
Well, does WWE know what they're doing with their women's division? Why has, like, just on a quick, side note here, why has nobody challenged Liv Morgan for the Women's World Championship? Nobody.
Well, where is Stephanie Vaquer? Is she injured? Because she was there, wasn't she there after Raw? Or
she got taken out by the Judgment Day. She got taken out backstage by the Judgment Day, and nobody has stepped to Liv Morgan. Everybody's gone for the IC Championship, the US Championship, these tag titles, but nobody wants the Women's World Championship, which is weird.
Well, who would you, I mean, of the names, right? I mean, mine went to Io Sky. That's an easy one there, but it also feels like maybe they've kind of run that path. Did they? I can't even remember. I guess like she was involved with the Rhea. Oh man, yeah, that's like the tag picture. I guess there was an element of that, but I guess Io Sky's there. Who else do we have there?
You could run Bailey, or Lyra,
Bailey,
because they do have beef for the Judgment Day.
Dude, I think that's the biggest issue is that like all of they're all in tag teams for some reason. Like, yeah, but everyone's in a tag team.
But that's exactly to the point that they don't know how to book the women's division. Like they should have had someone as the next one up. Like why are we creating this clusterfuck of a tag division and we don't know who the real contenders are when you haven't really established anybody, and then everybody in the singles division isn't being set up to be the next contender either.
Yeah, and then also, what's the go with Nikki Bella? Like, I wonder how. Do you know what injury that was?
I think she broke her ankle, didn't she? So she's probably like at least, that was WrestleMania week. So that's probably like at least a 6-week injury. So maybe the next few weeks, Nikki Bella comes back. But I don't think she should be competing for a Women's World Championship.
Yeah. Well, I mean, again, going back to the names, I mean, the Judgment Day, Roxanne Perez and Raquel Rodriguez are kind of, tied up in this tag team world. Fatal Influence, we know are kind of lurking as well. Bailey and Lyra, like you said before, like these are all names that are around, and then even you can add Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss to the picture as well. It's just they're all just kind of hovering, and this doesn't really feel like there's one like particular team. I guess maybe it would be Irresistible Forces, but yeah, I don't know. I don't really know what the go is here, which makes me want to tip that Paige and Brie Bella will just hold onto the championships, I guess.
Yeah, I think they do. They're actually doing a pretty solid job at the moment.
Yeah, Paige. It's nice having Paige back.
Yeah, it's caught me by surprise, and Brie's been pretty solid. Like her in-ring work has been actually like pretty good. So. I have no beef with these two holding the belts, and I think they probably should at the moment. They're probably the right people to have them right now, like in this like post WrestleMania phase where it's kind of a little bit of a transitional period. I don't mind these two holding the belts, so I'll say Brie Bella and Paige retain at Saturday night's main event. And in terms of like Raquel and Roxanne, they've had their shot this week on Raw. They lost. I don't see them. They should not be in the tag team title picture at the moment. So maybe we can kind of get to the Judgment Day breaking down, and then maybe Roxanne takes on Liv.
Yeah, another name that just came to mind was like Julia and Kiana James was like another name. But yeah,
they had to be split soon.
Yeah, especially what happened on SmackDown. They're kind of teasing that, but we all know, they could tease us for 6 years and won't do anything about it. But yeah, it's obvious that they are setting up a Roxanne, Raquel, Liv kind of situation with the Judgment Day. But yeah, I reckon I'm going to tip Paige and Brie Bella to retain that. But that's the card for Saturday night's main event. You mentioned it earlier with the Gunther and Brock Lesnar, but I do want to talk about this Cody Rhodes WWE picture. I actually thought it was clever writing where Cody, he gets out, he sets up his own contract signing, brings out a table, a chair, sets it up with the contract, asks Gunther to come out, and Gunther's kind of playing coy with him, teasing him like, oh, I don't want to live it like this. All until Royce Keys shows up, stares at Gunther, walks down to the ring, says, hey, if he's not going to sign it, I will. And then Gunther obviously getting pissed off about that. I thought that was just smart because I'm just like, yeah, like, what are we doing here? Like, if no one's going to do it, like, yeah, this is logical writing. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it was a smart pivot, and we ended up getting a match between the two on SmackDown, Royce Keys and Gunther. Royce Keys is kind of over. I don't know. Yeah. I mean, he hasn't really done too much, but he's kind of over.
They've done a good job of like making him, having him connect with the audience, even though he hasn't had that much, I guess, in-ring exposure yet. He has been like wrestling a lot on like the main event, matches like before the SmackDown tapings have been starting. So, he's been getting like that live audience interaction. It's just, I guess, like the TV audience where he's kind of, been a little bit quiet at the moment. But, I think they're doing a good job. Him being on that Stephanie McMahon podcast where, people had the chance to, I guess, know him a little bit better and, more of his struggles and his, personal background and things like that was a good way to, I guess, have people, be able to connect with him a little bit more. So, and then, putting him in spots like this in the WWE, championship picture, obviously that tells everybody straight away, like, oh, this guy actually might be legit. So, yeah, I thought, very smart way to do it. I did like how they did it. And, right decision with Gunther getting the win in the number one contenders match. And I don't think it doesn't do any injustice for Royce Keys losing that match. I think, if anything, he was probably the biggest winner out of this.
Yeah, 100%. He gained a lot more than really anyone involved in that. Solo Sikoa, has been teasing as well, like, trying to get him as part of the MFTs. We saw him get involved in the main event. Royce Keys said, hell nah. Huge pop by the crowd. So it seems like that might be where Royce Keys is headed, a feud with him and Solo Sikoa. But I mean, the MFTs as well is looking a little bit interesting. We saw Tama Tonga and, or was it Tala Tonga? One of them had a match with Damian Priest and SmackDown, so I think they might be gunning for the tag team championships maybe. Shinsuke Nakamura is like still kind of around it. You know what? This is the thing, all right? Everyone is hovering. Zero gravity in WWE right now. Everyone is just floating. There's no real action happening. Everyone is just hovering around everyone else because this Shinsuke Nakamura thing has been happening before WrestleMania. What's the payoff here? Are we getting like a Tama Tonga Shinsuke tag team? Was that the play?
If I've learned anything from the last 12 months, it just means that Shinsuke Nakamura will be released.
No, come on.
If we're looking at
he might be retired. Hey, you know what? Add him to the retiree list.
Alistair Black. These guys are doing the same thing, and they're not here anymore.
Oh man, yeah, it's a shame. He did look nice though, Shinsuke, with his haircut.
I'll see Shinsuke Nakamura at Penrith Panthers in November.
Oh,
come on. The next World Series wrestling show.
If I can say one thing, Shinsuke Nakamura will not be pulling up to Penrith Leagues Club. That is a man of taste. He's a man of culture.
They've got a good card for that show in November. They've got Andrade, Sammy Guevara.
Oh, they're coming back.
Yeah, Killer Cross coming out again. It looks like a good show at the moment.
Is it at Penrith as well?
It is.
Oh, for God's sakes. What else happened this week? We saw Trick Williams, the homecoming on SmackDown last week.
Chelsea Green came back. She had a little backstage interaction with Tiffany Stratton. Big pop for me when I saw Chelsea back. Happy to see her back.
What are we doing with her, man? Get her back involved. Trick Willie, man, that was a fun segment. I really enjoyed it. I also love that Lil Yachty is legit throwing out ones, legit ones, in the ring to the crowd. I gotta get myself close enough to claim some of those ones. But
It
Trick
looked
Willie,
very,
man, he
like,
is over.
those $1 bills, they looked very cardboardy. I don't know if they're legit.
Hey, I'm believing that they're legit. I mean, Lil Yachty would be the type to bring legit
Hey,
dollar bills.
there was no bend in those things. I was watching them as they were falling. There was no
Oh,
like.
you are not analyzing
Hey,
the structural integrity of a dollar bill. You are not analyzing it right now.
This is what I'm here for. This is what I watch the show for. I said this last week, but I've stopped watching SmackDown. I actually did watch SmackDown on Sunday night.
Good.
I went back and watched
Good.
it. So yeah, that's how I did know that Chelsea came back. Probably the reason why I did watch SmackDown this week was because I saw that Chelsea was back. But
Hey.
did watch it this week, and I did notice those $1 bills seemed very rigid.
Hey, one thing I know for sure, yeah, you are not getting this kind of analysis anywhere else. Only on Graps and Yaps will you be getting dollar bill structural integrity analysis from Tony Free. I will say it's good that you were watching SmackDown, Tony Free, though. Yeah, honestly, I should give you a yellow card because, after all we do is watch wrestling. We have to, and we do a podcast about it.
You know what I realized? I
What?
literally am only interested in SmackDown because of Chelsea Green. She's literally the most entertaining character that they have on that show. When she's not on
interested
there,
in Cody?
no. When she's not on there, it lacks. When she's on, I am thoroughly entertained. For that 90-second to 2-minute cameo that she makes, it just ticks the box for me when I'm watching SmackDown.
You're just a Chelsea mark. That's what this is, actually.
I proudly
That's
am.
what it is.
And we need more of it.
Yeah, look, I can't argue that. I'm a fan as well. She whatever she's given, whether it is like you said, like a 30-second spot, maybe it's a match, a promo in ring, like she makes the most of it. She is very good at her job, and hopefully we get to see her with some gold again sometime soon. I also want to say now that since we're on SmackDown, there was after the homecoming, the Trick Williams segment, there was a backstage segment that happened between Ricky Saints and Carmelo Hayes. Just typical promo stuff. We're gonna have a match tonight, kind of thing. But honestly, I don't know if you caught this. I was watching it on my couch live, and I was like, this is the fastest promo I've ever seen in my life. Because they were like, they said like 1,000 words, but in the space of like 1 minute. Like it was back and forth. There was no gaps between what they were talking about either. Like, please, if you're listening right now, Tony Free as well, please go watch it back. It is the quickest promo ever because he's like, oh, what are you doing here, Ricky Saints? And it's like, well, Ricky Saints, I'm absolute, by the way. And last week, I beat this guy. And da-da-da-da-da. Carmelo Hayes is like, well, I've been around here for da-da-da-da-da. And it's like, it's the quickest promo I've ever seen in my life. I was like, what the hell was that? I was like, word vomit.
They 100% had their time cut, and they just had to get it out.
Well, that's what it felt like. I was just like, Jesus Christ, like, please go and rewatch that. But speaking of backstage segments, this one has been making rounds. It happened on Raw between the Usos and a returning LA Knight, who we haven't really been seeing around, but LA Knight's still lingering around, still unfortunately involved in the bloodline vortex, kind of questioning the Usos and what's happening with Roman. That's not really the biggest part of this. It's mainly when LA Knight hits the, he calls it the Oofalafa. And you just see Jay break character, and he is fighting for his life for at least 20 seconds. And that is how you know the bloodline is back, when you see Jay Uso breaking character. I keep seeing clips of it on my feed, and I'm laughing every time. Yeah, and he's like rubbing his mouth, and he's clapping. He's doing the
Rubbing the hands.
Yeah. No, it's the pray hands. It's the pray hands rubbing hands, looking down. Oh my God. And he's looking away, like legit, like back to the camera, like, oh man. Oh, that was the best. Honestly, one of the highlights of Raw. But man, that's how you know we back in the bloodline. That's how you know we back in the good old days. What the hell's happening here? What do we get? What is this gonna lead to?
Me and Flick were like, we watched Raw last night, and Flick and I were discussing this. Like, what are they doing with LA Knight? Like we said, like they'll never put him into that title picture. Like I don't know what they're doing. I don't know where his trajectory is going right now, which is sad because, yeah, I thought this guy was on track to win a world championship last year. And I thought he was going to win the Royal Rumble. I had such high hopes for him. And WWE just finds, ways all the time. Just when you think he's getting momentum, just they pull the rug out from underneath him, and
Yeah.
they send him back down to planet Earth. And yeah, we're never going to get the heights that we want to see from LA Knight, unfortunately.
It is crazy to think the last time he was holding gold was the United States Championship, and that was at least a year ago, right? Was that last year's WrestleMania he lost it?
Yeah, I think so. But maybe he's one of those guys you can put, as one of your faces in the IC Championship title picture.
That's an easy fix. That's a real easy fix. Yeah, why don't we get that done?
He hasn't won that belt before, so maybe that's his next journey.
We also haven't seen CM Punk in a while. I saw a clip of him at the Ronda Rousey fight on the weekend. He was watching in the crowd. What's the go with that? Do you have any ideas on when we'll be seeing him? Would it be after Clash, maybe?
Maybe after Seth's done with Braun Breaker, let's run back Seth and CM Punk.
I really thought that we were going to get Punk and Danhausen again. Well, there's also actually Danhausen was looking to use that the clone machine again, but he had like he had a look at a name tag. So I don't know what it looked like. It was just the gingerbread man, but I was like, what are we cooking here? Did you have the same thoughts? Were you like, what is this?
Yeah, I didn't think that hard about it. I had no analytical breakdown for that
you
one.
You spent all your brain power on the structural integrity of this dollar bill.
I was refueling during that segment.
Oh my gosh, man! Is there anything else that we may have missed from the last week? We kind of breezed through it, but I mean, yeah, nothing off the top of my head. Have I missed anything, Tony Free?
No, I think and this is something that I said a few times as I was watching Raw and SmackDown this week when I was watching it with Flick. The amount of shows that they've got this month is ridiculous. Like we've just gone, Backlash was only 3 weeks after WrestleMania. And all of a sudden we've got Saturday night's main event this week, and then they have Clash in Italy next week. It's just so congested. We do not need these, really tight turnarounds where we don't have much ability to really tell a story and build something up, because everything is the reason everything feels so rushed is because there's shows they have to rush into. We need to space things out. Yeah,
well, I believe the next one after Clash next week will be Night of Champions in Riyadh, right? I think that's in June. So hopefully, 3-week buffer, 4-week maybe if we're good. But yeah, I don't know. I think the spacing of Backlash, Saturday night's main event, Clash in Italy has been very tight. So hopefully that can work on that next time. But why don't we just wrap it up here? Thank you for staying with us. If you made it this far on Spotify or Apple, or if you're watching on our YouTube as well, make sure you're following us on all social media at Graps and Yaps. And enjoy Saturday night's main event. Tony Free, mate, I'll be seeing you this weekend. We're to do an IRL meetup. People don't think that we're actually friends, but can confirm we're going to be seeing each other this weekend.
We are, and we saw each other last weekend. So happy birthday to you, Phil. For a Monday, it was your birthday. So had a fun night Saturday. But yeah, this weekend we're running it back down in my territory this week, which is nice. But yeah, big weekend.
Hey, is Kayama playing?
We are playing Saturday. I'm not, but we are. So that's happening Saturday. Sunday we might have to. I'm gonna actually no. I won't be watching Saturday night's main event live. It's not really.
Don't worry, I had the same thought. I was like, should we watch it?
It's not that high on my priority list. But then there's Sunday night, 1 a.m. match day 38 of the Premier League.
Man, yeah.
This is what we need. So Tottenham need to at least just draw to stay up. West Ham need to win. It's as simple as that. West Ham win, Tottenham lose. That's all we need.
Hey man, you wanna lock in a prediction or some score predictions?
Yeah, Tottenham losing 2-1, West Ham beating Leeds 1-0.
Damn, it's like that. All right, well look, maybe we'll see A West Ham Screwjob. We have spoken about a West Ham Screwjob before. Maybe we'll be seeing it this weekend. But look, we'll see you guys next week. Tony Free, I'll see you this weekend, mate.
See you then.